Thank you so much, Alexa and Patrick, for joining me today to discuss Nicely Theater's Fiddler on the Roof. How are you two doing?
Great. How are you, Brian?
Doing wonderful. How are you doing, Alexa?
I'm doing well. Excited to talk about Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, because you're just about 2 weeks out from opening night, correct?
That's right. And I just had a mini heart attack now. No, just kidding. Yeah, but very excited. 2 weeks from now.
Alexa, what's kind of the feeling going through your mind right now with being 2 weeks out from the show?
Well, I think we're at that stage where everything is starting. It's like the rehearsals where everything is added. Like you get some microphones, you have half a costume. Some nights the orchestra's there. We just had our sitz probe. Some nights it's the piano and the violin. So every rehearsal brings like two new things, but then takes away two things you had at the last rehearsal. So we're kind of in that weird, like getting our sea legs portion of the rehearsal process where you're just waiting for everything to click and everything to be there.
Patrick, is it kind of like unsettling then when things are being like tossed in and tossed out as you're building the show and the characters?
Always, right? Alexa put it best with sea legs, and I've heard that many times in all the theater that I've done, right? It really does feel like you're on a boat rocking back and forth or a roller coaster. I've heard that analogy too, right? It's how many of these different things can we add in? The layers of lighting, right? All of a sudden you're coming out on stage and you normally look up. I have these moments where I look to God and I speak to God and there's a spotlight in your face, right? You're like, oh, there's a light there now, there's all of these different things that you add in and make it the production that the audience ends up seeing.
I think it's interesting because you don't usually get a look behind the scenes of stuff like that. And actually, with two of your previous productions, I got to see rehearsals. So for Fun Home, you guys were kind of having like a straight run through. But Patrick, when I came to Guys and Dolls for their for one of the rehearsals, it was very much like that. They stopped. There was conversations. It was like, how do we throw this in? How do we change that? Does this look
Mhm.
right? And so it's kind of interesting to see that and knowing that's where you guys are kind of at right now. And then what the finished product eventually comes out to be.
You know what? Like, just to throw this in there, that's what I love about theater, right? That's why it's a living, breathing thing, right? Depending upon when you come as an audience member, it'll be different night to night, right? And especially you seeing it during a rehearsal, it's not all there yet, right? It's not a finished product. And even that finished product will have different iterations, right? The more comfortable we get in the run, audiences laugh at different places every night. Like it's a very evolving, living, breathing thing, you know?
There's so many more layers in a show like Fiddler too than, you said, well, when I saw Fun Home, you guys were already just running. Well, what was there, 5 people in that cast? Relatively
Yes.
low costume changes. I mean, Fiddler on the Roof is a 19-person orchestra, huge dance numbers. You've got multiple vocal parts. You have a huge ensemble. So I feel like
Mhm.
the layers, like the more bodies you add and the more like long term of a story you have to tell and the more layers you add, it just kind of makes it so you can't just get up and go as easy as the 5 people shows, the 5-person shows.
I was going to say, just from the previews that I've seen of Fiddler on the Roof, this is a huge show. Like, that stage is filled with people pretty much what they're showing the entire time.
Yeah, it's intense in a good way.
So with the show itself, as I stated prior to us recording, as while I've been passionate about theater my entire life, I don't know what Fiddler on the Roof is. So Alexa, I was kind of hoping if you could tell us a general gist of the story. Um, and Patrick, jump on in whenever you have, bits and pieces to add to it.
I think the simplest way, and I think you're going to get a lot of backlash from saying that you've never seen it, because I feel like
I know.
people who like Fiddler like it so much that they're very aggressive about it. So you might be hearing some stuff about never seeing it. It's a very conservative Jewish family back in what time period is this? Patrick, help me.
It's the early 1900s.
The
It's
early
before the Russian
1900s.
Revolution. Yeah.
So
Okay.
he has 5 daughters. And he starts the show talking about like our whole lives are tradition. This is how we live. This is how we work. This is how we eat. This is how we dress. And then each one of his daughters, as you go through the show, kind of does something that makes Tevye, and I don't want to give anything away because you haven't seen it. Everybody else is like,
Right.
you can't spoil Fiddler on the Roof. That's everybody's favorite. Um, each one of his daughters does something that makes him question how far can he deviate from his tradition and still be himself and still be, this devout Jewish man in this community. But it's just kind of showing how the world is changing around them, I think. But I'm not Tevye. I mean, I'm not playing Tevye. And he's trying to still hold on to his beliefs and his traditions, although everything around him is shifting. I don't know. Patrick probably has a better take on it since
Yeah,
he's
no. I think from Alexa said it very well. I think really what interests me and what I think the audience inevitably about a show like this is that it's so relevant to all of us. No matter where you come from, your way of life, it's that sort of push pull, that tension between what is my status quo now, the traditions, my daily life, what I do in and out of every day, and what happens to me, to my village, my family, my people. What happens when those ways of life are challenged or changed, whether in good ways or horrendous ways, right? Um, I mean, obviously, this is a traditionally Jewish story, and I think even when the movie came out, I don't know what year it was, but I'm assuming it was in the '60s, right? When the movie came out, um, nobody thought it would do well because they thought it was too Jewish of a story, right? And that's not true at all. People in Japan are doing this musical and saying, no, this is a Japanese story. We relate to this. This is very close to home for the way we live and our traditions and our way of life, right? So I've always found that very interesting, that push pull, that tension between what is now and what is coming, what will be, you know?
And it really kind of is that timeless tale of just like living up to like parents and expectations and family and heritage and stuff like that, that does kind of cross any kind of boundaries. This is things that I still, as a psychologist, hear people talking about today, no matter what. So I think that is why it kind of stands that test of time.
You're absolutely right.
So were you two familiar with this? Am I the only one that wasn't familiar with the story prior to it?
You might be the only one in the world
Okay.
that was not.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Alexa, when did you know the movie growing up like I did?
I didn't know the movie, but I had seen various school and community theater productions and pretty much knew all the music because my whole life I've only listened to show tunes, not popular music. So that's kind of one of those things that you stumble upon when you're younger trying to find new shows. Somebody will tell you. I remember actually my cheerleading coach from middle school was getting married and she was like, I want Sunrise Sunset sang at my wedding. Alexa, will you sing it for me right now? And I didn't know it. And her mother sat there in the gym and sang me Sunrise Sunset and tried to teach me it right there. And that's when I went. I think my mom bought me the CD then after that. And I learned it. And she's coming. So she reached out to me on Facebook and said she was coming, which I thought was funny. I said, well, you're the one that introduced me to this show. But I've seen community theater and high school productions and stuff like that. I've probably seen it 5, 6 times, but I did not watch the movie until I got in this production.
So, okay. So, being the only one here that hadn't seen it, what, Patrick, really drew you to wanting to audition for this show?
I think for me, I'm drawn to roles, and this may be sacrilegious for me to say, especially in front of Alexa, who grew up only on show tunes, right? There are some musicals I'm not at all interested in doing, right? It's like just singing and dancing and fra la la, everything's happy-go-lucky and nothing changes. Like, I'm not ever interested in doing Bye Bye Birdie ever, right? No offense to anybody who likes that show, right? What I like about the show is that there's such a shift in dynamic throughout, right? There's a range of emotions, a range of scene work to do. I get to be funny. I get to be distraught. I get to deal with the emotions that a parent deals with their children. I won't give anything away, but it's a challenge, right? And this is going to sound so pretentious, so I apologize in advance, right? I listened to Alfred Molina, an interview that he did because he was playing it on Broadway several years back now. And the interviewer said to him, this is kind of like the King Lear of musical theater, right? And Alfred Bellini was like, yeah, I'm glad you said that, not me. But in essence, this is one of those like Mount Rushmore roles for an actor in musical theater, right? And I've always been interested. I've loved it, and I'm thrilled that I get to have a crack at it.
It sounds like these really are complex characters and stories that are going through here.
Yeah.
Alexa, what really drew you in? It sounds like you had, you heard about this through one of your teachers. Was that kind of like this love, from that point on that really drew you to wanting to audition?
No. I
I appreciate the honesty.
I'm gonna
You're
be
like,
honest.
absolutely not.
First and foremost, I am a sucker for Nicely Theater. I have done 6 shows with them. Well, this is my 6th. And I really like the environment. I really like the production crew. I really like the quality. I feel home there. Um, Being a woman that is coming into her middle-aged part in life, dream roles start changing and you start thinking like, I'm not playing the ingenue anymore. What roles are out there? And I'm sorry, but Golda is like one of those top roles for a woman like 40 and up. So that's kind of been on my radar. So when it popped up and it was Fiddler on the Roof, I had a minute and I was like, I am ready to transition. And so I went out for this role, and I was on the younger end of the age description when they were casting, but the music is so good. I'm a big sucker for music, and I don't like dancing. I don't like things like that, but I love like strong, thick harmonies, and I just feel like the music in Fiddler on the Roof, especially in our Sitz Pro, we have a 19-piece orchestra. And just the
Amazing.
first beginning of tradition, I had like full body goosebumps. And then everybody started singing, and I was like, crap, I have to sing too. So it's like one of those iconic scores. Like I would say I'm a singer first and foremost, that you can't pass that up. If you have an opportunity to do it and then do it with the ones you love, like Nicely and Fiddler, no, I can't pass that up.
And truly, the environment of a theater and who you're with is one of the most important pieces here, because you could do any show anywhere, but if it's not with somebody that you trust and you care about and invest into you as much as you invest into them, then it's not worth it.
It makes
Exactly.
all the difference. It really does.
And so this also sounds like, Alexa, this is like a very transitionary period for you, where you're like, okay, if I'm going to accept a role into this next stage of acting, this is it.
Yeah. I am now into my mom era. My mom and grandma era, as it goes for female, community theater actors.
So speaking of who you're playing in the show, Alexa, who are you in the show? And then what's kind of their narrative, while not spoiling too much of the show?
I'm Golda. I am Tevia's wife. I am the mother to his 5 daughters. I would like to say I'm the backbone of the house, but Tevia might feel differently. I kind of I kind of keep the show on the road. I keep him on the straight and narrow. Keep him honest about his time constraints as he goes through his days and the things I need from him. Try to keep the family together.
That's a
Yeah.
heavy role.
I mean, aren't all women kind of like that though?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I'm not
I
denying
feel
that
like
at all.
I relate a
My
lot.
wife must have called Alexa right before this.
Yes.
Yeah,
They had a debriefing just minutes ago.
Hmm.
I'm sure.
Patrick, who are you playing in the show?
I'm playing Tevia, and Tevia is, I guess I should just introduce him as Golda's husband, is really how I should introduce him.
Yeah.
The father of 5 daughters, right? The milkman, the dairyman to this local Jewish village, this community, right? And he's salt of the earth, right? I think he aspires to be rich, but not to be a jerk, but to get to do the things that he loves the most. He wants things for his family. He wants things for Golda, right? He wants things in terms of his relationship to God and his ability to dive into that relationship a bit more with ease, right? Wealth equals ease, right? And he's a working man. He pulls a cart. His horse is lame, and he has to pull this milk cart through the village, right? With all of the accoutrement, right? So, he's the journey Tevia goes on is one of a lot of like figuring out who he is, how he
Sure.
relates to the tradition, how he relates to his family as it changes, as it grows, as it, I guess, subtracts in some way, or contracts in some way, I should say. But I think the journey itself, the momentum of the story really tends to be focused around that family unit and how it evolves, right? So it's certainly not Tevye's story any more than Golda's or the daughters' suitors, right? The townspeople.
Mhm.
But it's such a cool role.
It seems like it's such an ensemble piece that every person is, not that like
Oh,
anybody isn't important in other shows, but like this one really, you need every single piece of the puzzle to make it work.
couldn't agree with that more. And you'll see those people, right? The matchmaker, the butcher, the rabbi, right? Um, the town beggar, right?
Mhm.
You'll see all of these roles as they unfold.
And everybody does such a good job bringing their character to life that it's, I kind of wait on the wings and I stay backstage a lot during runs because I like to stay focused. But I feel like every time I watch it, I see somebody else that I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were doing that. Oh, that makes sense that that type of character would be acting like that. And I feel like every time I'm getting distracted from trying to stay in character because I'm seeing something else that I didn't notice before. Everybody's just really into it and really making it their own.
And it sounds like the two of you have quite the, like your characters, you spend a lot of time together. What's that chemistry like between the two of you?
She's
Like,
the
how do you build off
worst.
each other?
Just the worst.
Ugh.
Um, it's funny, right? Because if you look at like Tevye and Golda's marriage from the outside, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Is it good? Is it challenged? Is it affectionate? Right? I mean, we're dealing with a lot of the norms of that time, right? We're dealing with a lot of the perhaps constraints of the traditions in how they would interact, right? But I think that there's an arc for us too in this story, right? There's even a song called "Do You Love Me," right? That Tevye and Golda sing to each other, but they're asking each other an honest question: do you love me? And they've been married for 25 years already at that point,
Okay.
right? So asking that question, it's like, "Well, have you have you asked this question of each other before? I don't think so."
Well, I mean, if you think about it, they were an arranged marriage, which comes up, and then they had 5 kids, and he works all day. He's out of the house all day long. She's at home managing these 5 children. I mean, it seems like their life started before they even had a chance to ask, "Do I like this person?" And even if the
Mhm.
answer is no, guess what, sister? This is your husband. You
Right.
don't have a choice. So maybe sometimes I wonder if they ever even thought about that till that moment Chevia says, "Do you love me?" Because it's so tradition and business and keep your life afloat for them. He's got to work all day to feed the family. She's got to work on the house and in the barn all day to keep everything running. And you almost wonder if they kind of live a parallel life.
And it makes you think about it too, because back, you said early 19th century, correct? For the story?
1900s, yeah.
1900, sorry. But like love was not necessarily something that you always factored into things like that. Like, I mean, even my grandma would say that she married my grandpa for comfort, not necessarily for love. Like, and like that sounds cruel, but that was kind of what life was back then.
Sure,
I mean, they were
sure.
probably married when they were 15, 16.
I mean,
Didn't
and
give
so
each other.
they're living life. They're having to do what life is, and love's not always something that factors into that. Alexa, how has the show challenged you as an actor?
First of all, acting alongside, I'm just going to like cut to the chase. I am a mother, I am a nurse, I have no formal acting training. And coming into it and seeing that I have scenes with Patrick, sorry, Patrick, I'm going to use you. And he is so talented and he is so trained. And I just look at him and I'm like, I have to step up my game. I have to. So
Oh,
it's really
shut
made
up.
me want to be more prepared, which I don't know how rude this sounds, but it makes me want to be more prepared. It makes me step up my game because I feel like it is a privilege to be across from somebody like Patrick that, has done this professionally and has training and is so talented. And it's very I was really nervous when we first started working on this because I've seen Patrick in other things, and his reputation precedes him as being this great person to be around. And so I was
Well,
nervous. And then I realized he's such a good scene partner that no matter what I do, he will help me through it or he will counter and make it work. So really, I came in so nervous and now I'm like, well, I feel safe when I'm on stage with him. So it's really made me do a lot of I'm sorry, my cat is kind of right on the
It's okay.
amazing.
it
I
really
buff
makes me want to be a better scene partner to other people going forward because of what I've learned and I've seen off of Patrick. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's perfect. But also, I do not want to downplay. You are an exceptional actress. Like you've
yeah,
done.
she's
I've
not
seen you
giving
before.
herself enough credit.
Truly, like phenomenal. Like I said, I've seen you in Fun Home, and you blew that show out of the water. And so we're not going to discount
Thank
that.
you.
But also, I know what you're talking about with Patrick because when I watched him do Guys and Dolls, like the rehearsal, he could slip in and out of character so quickly, and I was like, man, I would need like 3 minutes to like ramp up to get ready, and he would just be like that and just in and out, like. So
No, I'm
it's not.
so thankful. Honestly, I love working with him.
Oh, stop! It's all my psychological deficiencies, Brian. That's what it is.
Oh,
Um,
I can help you with those later.
yeah, thanks, man. Let me get your number. Brian, Alexa is not giving herself enough credit, right? What is interesting to me, and I've been blessed that I've had the chance to work professionally and work in different theaters around the country and in Michigan. When I think of why I like to do shows at Nicely, right? It's not just bowling league theater, right? This is more. This is bigger. This is an experience. And this is an experienced group. You've got people like
Yes.
Alexa, who this is their sixth Nicely show. You've got people like Alexa who sings like an angel, right? And who's up there as sort of a stalwart member of this group, right? This wouldn't be possible without Alexa, right? And some of the other really, really talented folks we have. But, I think about like, why would somebody want to come see Fiddler on the Roof for maybe the 20th time, right? I think it's this theater, it's this group of people in West Bloomfield that is professional grade, right? And Alexa, you're not giving yourself enough credit, but I could talk about you for a long time. I could talk about some of our other cast members. This is
such
the
a
group,
talented cast.
right? This group, this cast, this theater, right? They bring together a really quality experience and one that I don't think people would want to miss.
It's definitely like as it's coming and stuff. It's like an event. It's the same as like when a tour comes into town. Nicely does their productions are gigantic. They're big. They speak
Yes.
to the quality of the people who are on stage. Patrick,
I
how
could-
has this show made you challenged you as an actor? Not made you as an
Yeah.
actor.
You know what it is for me? I've done many shows in all kinds of varieties, Shakespeare, musicals, plays, all of it, contemporary, classical. What I think is always a challenge is a vehicle like this one, where you've got to step on the gas from the beginning and drive it to the finish, right? This story is one where Alexa and I barely get to leave stage, right? We're always in the mix in whichever scene is happening, whether it be in the village or whether it be inside the family home, in our yard, whatever it is. So the challenge for me is finding what is that arc, that journey? What are the ebbs and flows of the energy throughout? And how can I bring something that's authentic, that's real, right? But also something that is entertaining, So one of the things that, and Alexa's really good at this, right? One of the things that I always have to challenge myself to do is, okay, where can this be a moment of levity? Where can this be a moment of acknowledging something that is maybe outside of what I, Patrick, see and what I get for free as an actor? Where do I sort of dive in and find a little bit more of the comedy, find a little bit more of the hope, right? Because otherwise, this is a dirge. right? And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see a slow, drawn out Fiddler on the Roof. They want it to be fun, punched up, exciting, passionate, tense. And that's what I hope this is. But it has also been the biggest part of the challenge, I think.
I will say that I definitely thought it was a little more of a heavier story until I saw that preview for it, and I was like, they're all happy and dancing. What's going on here? Because again, no idea what's going on. So, but I was just like, in my head I had a picture like, the only song I think that I know from it is "Papa, Can You Hear Me?" and I'm like, that's a slower song. So like maybe the show is
from Fiddler.
It's not. No, see, this is why.
Close.
Brian.
Yeah.
Ryan, you run the box seat babes and you don't know Fiddler on the Roof.
Listen, this is where my grandmother failed me. We watched Sound of Music way too many times, apparently.
It's close. It's close.
It's all both Barbra Streisand, right?
No. But Alexa is
here.
our own Barbra Streisand. So there you have it there. No, the songs like Sunrise, Sunset, If I Were a Rich Man.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Oh,
you don't know that?
I know it from Mrs. Doubtfire.
You know it. Yes, Mrs. Doubtfire. He's basically Yenta in the Matchmaker in that song.
You've never heard If I Were a Rich Man?
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh my
God. The Gwen Stefani cover, perhaps?
Yeah, there you go. That's from my...
Right?
Listen, I will watch Fiddler on the Roof before I come in.
No spoilers. Don't see it till you see it at Nicely now.
Perfect. Then I've already made a fool of myself multiple times about knowing things here, apparently.
Don't worry, man. You know what's funny, too? Not to derail, but...
No, you're good.
When I was in San Francisco, I lived there for a little while, I got to see Harvey Fierstein play this role.
Oh, wow.
Do you know who Harvey Fierstein is?
Yes.
Yeah, the very, very charismatic, flamboyant actor on Broadway who talks like this, right? And he played Tevye, and he talked and sang exactly like that the entire time, right? So if you can imagine the pantheon of people who have played these roles and done this show, right? It is probably best that you wait, see it, right? Because so many of their interpretations are wildly different. Harvey Fierstein, Alfred Molina, Topol in the movie, Zero Mostel, right? They're all different, right? So for what it's worth, Alexa's right. You should wait.
Well, good. I will wait then, and I'll see it the way it should be seen, live.
Yeah.
There you go.
But speaking of the music, Alexa, what is the song that you enjoy performing the most? You have to pick your favorite child here from this show.
Oh, I like the Sabbath prayer. I think it's beautiful. I think it's haunting. I love everything about it. I love the way it feels. I love the way Tevye sings at the end. I'm a sucker for just like a very heartfelt ballad in a minor key. I don't know. I like drama, and I feel like it's beautiful.
Patrick, how about for you?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me too.
No, but now you have to pick your favorite child.
I know. It's so hard, Brian. I think, I guess I'll go along the same lines as Alexa. In Sunrise, Sunset, there's a moment, and Dan, who was a phenomenal music director and conductor, we were doing this with the Sitz probe, and he warned us, right, in a good way, that he was going to do this. But he looks over at the orchestra as we're all singing this big choral number, right? And he cuts them off. And so it's just us, just our collective voices in this beautiful, like, zhuzhy harmony, right? And it's gorgeous. It's awesome the way we're moving together in and out of emphasizing certain syllables and crescendoing and decrescendoing together. If you're a music lover, there's going to be some real gems here for you, right? And I guess, that moment the other night, it's similar to you, Alexis. It was like pins and needles,
Alexa, what themes from this show seem to resonate the most with you?
It's hard. I'm very much in the season of motherhood in my own life. So I would just say the theme of kind of letting, I don't know if this is a theme, letting your child go and do essentially their own choice when you in your head feel like you have a better plan for them. I don't know if
That
that's
makes
a theme,
sense.
but like motherhood and kind of giving your kids wings and whether you're okay with that or not. And do I step in? Do I not step in? Do I let this happen? Which I feel like we see Tevye struggle more with than Golda in the show. But, you know, in the end, do I really just want them to be happy? Or do I have like a plan that I need them to stick to? Which I feel like as a mom, you're always kind of weighing, do I make them do this or do I let them choose? Or do I mean, even smaller things, because my kids obviously aren't of adult age to get married or anything like that. But, you know, you're always thinking, do I let them decide or do I do what I think is best? And
Which
there's a
it's
lot of
tough
those.
as a parent to let go. It's to let go
Oh,
and just kind of let them be free.
oh yeah.
Patrick, how about for you? What themes really stand out to you from Fiddler on the Roof?
You know what's funny? I'll piggyback on what Alexa said. I'm a girl dad, right? I have two beautiful little girls, an almost 10-year-old and one that turns 6 the day after we open, right? We have our matching Taylor Swift bracelets, and mine says Daddy, right? I would do anything for my girls, right? And I know Tevye is exactly the same way. He loves his children. I never missed, I knew from an early age that when I had kids, they would be girls, right? I knew that. And I think from my perspective, it is what Alexa mentioned, but it's almost harder because I don't want to be at the stage where I have to let them go. I don't want to be at the age where I have to watch them start dating
Yeah.
and getting into, and not that I'm going to be a crazy dad or anything, right? Polishing the shotgun, but I, I want to hold on to them. And it's that feel like even today, driving home from work for this, I thought, man, like I just want to hold my kids tonight. We don't have rehearsal tonight. I can't
Yes.
wait to just like snuggle them,
Yes.
you know? And that feeling is what Tevye feels and wants to hold on to. And in some cases he's successful, and in other cases he's not, you know? And that's those themes, again, that tension is really what gets me excited, but also destroys me every time.
It's really hard. I raised my nephew. He's currently 16. He's a junior in high school, and he's reached that age now where he's talking about colleges and stuff. And I'm just like, no, you're not supposed to go to college and leave here and talk about
No.
going out of state. Like, it does really it hurts. Then you're like, but this is what's supposed to happen. And so that conflict of like, you want them to be close to you forever, but then also they're supposed to spread their wings.
Yeah, and you can't be those weird people who all live on a compound, right?
Why
Can't
not?
do it. Oh no, go for it.
I mean, it's gonna be a beautiful compound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One final question for both of you before I let you go. Patrick, just what are you hoping audiences take away from this production of Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I'll go back to, I've heard David Carroll, the founder of Nicely, speak many times about why this theater, what he's hoping to accomplish with bringing an audience together. And I think what I hope people take away are not only how they relate to the themes of this story, this journey that we're all on. And they're going to relate to different characters depending who they are. They might relate to Golda or Tevye or the daughters, or some of the other townspeople. But I think what I hope they walk away with is a sense of, this is in my backyard. This theater, this experience that I had, yes, this dessert reception that they do at every show, these free photos that they have in the photo booth on site, it creates this feeling of community, but it is a quality experience and one that you probably aren't getting unless you're going to the Fisher, right? Or you're going to New York or Chicago, right? So I'm really, really happy and would be, I guess, thrilled to have an audience leave saying, oh my God, not only was that a great show, but that experience, this theater is one that I've got to connect with, moving forward.
Beautiful answer. Alexa, how about for you? What do you want audiences to walk away with?
I agree with what Patrick said completely. I think there's something kind of magical about going to see something of this quality and thinking, is that the girl that works at my hair salon? Is that, like these people are your neighbors, they're your coworkers, but then I also think the story really mirrors a lot that's going on right now in the world. And I'm hoping that maybe some people see some of the themes and the messages from this story and will realize that maybe in some areas history is kind of repeating itself
Sure.
and give them some food for thought without getting too deep into that.
Hmm.
I just it's sad and it's happened and it's happening in so many communities and so many religions and so many ethnicities, this same kind of storyline, the broader, what's happening where they live. So I just maybe, you know, art mimics life and maybe people will see something and realize that the same thing is still going on today.
So not only they're gonna be walking away with a great theatrical experience, but maybe some thoughts on how this reflects on our day-to-day life and our global world right now.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure talking with you.
Thank
You
you.
too, Brian.
Nicely Theaters Fiddler on the Roof opens October 17th and runs through October 26th. So get your tickets now, and we'll see you there.